Welcome back, Officers of Public. Your course Honorable Police Chief APGAINS. And in our series leading up to the new, beautiful, very sexy and improved farming guide that should come out Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how lazy I am, we're going to be talking about specifically GAC. And the most important thing that players who aren't, spending crazy amounts of money need to make sure that they're on top of when it comes to GAC. And I'm not gonna beat around the bush. It's increasing your win conditions, right? It's increasing the number of different situations that can occur and still give you an opportunity to come out on top. And what do I mean by this? I mean, if your opponent has a bunch of Galactic Legends or a bunch of Backbone teams or a bunch of ships or blah, 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 right? We want to make sure that no matter what our opponent does, we still have the maximum number of chances to win. And that's building, obviously, the perfect roster, which we'll talk about Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how lazy I am. But today we're going to be specifically talking about ships, the most forgotten part of the game. And since money-based matchmaking came out, ship-only defense has been probably the highest win rate as far as punching up as a free-to-play player. And we're just going to show what that looks like today. We've done 3 in a row. I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, I do them pretty much every GAC because I'm too lazy. Does it equal lots of wins? It does. Not exactly the sexiest GAC for our opponents. I will admit there's always that downside of, APGAINS, I get that you're winning more matches that you wouldn't otherwise win, and you're using math to your advantage, but you're not having a fun experience for your opponent who just can't play GAC and automatically loses. And that's a very valid argument. It's one of the more frequent arguments that I get against me is that you're gaming the system against the whales so much so that all of their money is useless and the game's not fun for them. And I apologize. And what do I mean by that? I mean, like, as you can see here, our opponent has some pretty good banners through 3 zones. Okay, I'm a terrible person. You don't have to do this. You can place gear 8s, gear 7s on defense. It doesn't matter, right? I will fully acknowledge that. Have I mastered this game so much so that I make it unfun for people who have to play us, regardless of the fact that they're 3 million GP more than me? Maybe. Maybe I have done such a thing, and I apologize. But I still like to win, and I want to at least offer, like I said at the beginning of the video, more possibilities, higher, more chances for you guys to win. Adding a tool to your tool. Think of it like this. Are you going to be like APGAINS and do this every single... Oh my God, of course I get no assists in the video where we're talking about fleet-only defense. That's so awesome. This could go south really quickly. Unless I get this assist here. Okay, beautiful. Okay, we might have to do this 1 second. A little terrible RNG mid video. Obviously not getting streamer RNG, but that's okay. It's okay. Sometimes you don't need streamer RNG. You can still come back. The point I was trying to let me go back to my original point. Adding tools to your tool belt. Do you have to be like me and make the game unfun for 100% of the opponents you play so that it's kind of a pain in the ass to be against you? You can do that. You can be a real nice human being and not do that every single time and allow some of your opponent's opportunities to win. That's your prerogative. I'm never going to tell a GAC player how they can and can't play GAC. All I'm going to do is forcibly make my opponent unable to play GAC so that I win because I like winning, because I'm greedy and no one likes me and I'm an evil person. But that's besides the point. Let's get back to the point. This is just adding a tool to your tool belt. Adding a situation like, hey, my opponent has 5 Galactic Legends and I have 2. They have a shit ton of Backbone teams. I have a couple. What do I do here, APGAINS? I get this question all the time on stream. We're doing roster review streams, whatever. They're like, APGAINS, this is the situation. How do I win this? How do I win this? And I oftentimes look at the roster and I'm like, you can't, because that's the way money-based matchmaking. Of course he's got to kill my boy. Come on, man. That's the way money-based matchmaking works, and it's intended to be that way, right? To help the people who spend money have a little bit of an edge, and that's okay. Capital games will do capital games. It's my job to make sure that, maybe we punch back a little bit. Maybe we say, your money versus my roster, my skill versus your credit card information. Let's even the playing field a little bit. Let me just finish up this battle, and we can kind of talk about the math behind all of this, because it's, whenever APGAINS says math, he means second grade math, because I'm an idiot, let's be honest. Not exactly an intellectual human being. That's besides the point. So, the core premise of this is our opponent's bigger, we're smaller, they have more GLs and more GP, and we don't really have a chance to play a standard GAC. What do I mean by a standard GAC? I mean a GAC that APGAINS hasn't played in like a year at this point. It's placing characters on defense, and your opponent attacks you and clears a zone or two, or full clears efficiently, and you have to clear more efficiently, or they beat one zone, so you have to beat two zones. Normal GAC, right? And obviously, since you're punching up, you're at a massive disadvantage. So what do? And this is where I talked about adding a tool to your tool belt, because technically you can't always do this. I had a GAC maybe a week or two ago, where my opponent was the classic APGAINS opponent, 8 million GP, 5 GLs, Star Killer, Malgus, all that shit, right? And I see that he has Executor in his lineup, and I'm like, beautiful. He has Executor. He places Executor on defense. I place mine on defense. I'm banking on the fact that he can't counter me because his ships aren't super good. I take Profundity against his Executor. I win automatically. He has 0 chance of winning. And then I go into his roster, and I see that he also has Profundity and Scythe and Grand Inquisitor, and I'm like, okay, fuck. We just outright lost. There's nothing we can do here. It doesn't matter if I place my entire team on defense. He can still place a couple GLs in full clear. Like, those GACs, you just lost. But GACs like this one, you place a whatever defense. Like Executor, I know that he can't counter it without his Executor. Negotiator is, he can counter it pretty easily, but, there's occasionally where he drops or something like that, and then just like a freebie team because, he has to beat it. And what happens is he gets perfect banners here because I haven't placed a single team on defense, and he beats all but one ship here, and he ends with like 1650 or some number like that, right? Because he doesn't get that 219 bonus for clearing. We clear this zone, we clear this zone, we clear this zone, because we've saved literally our entire roster for offense. And generally speaking, our entire roster versus half of his roster, it's pretty likely that we're going to come out on top. As long as we clear, we're fine here. And then all we have to do is hop in and clear all 3 ships. We get that 219 banners. Mathematically impossible for him to beat us. He's pissed. We're happy. CG is angry that people who spend money are not winning, and we all go about our business. La-di-da-di-da. Tomorrow or Wednesday, farming guide. You can do this too. Bye-bye.